In this video, we're checking out the new features added in the 0.7.4 update. As usual, I need to emphasize that this is a video game and not real cybersecurity. Let's start by looking at some of the added customization options to the game. As you can see here, my wallpaper has changed, and in the settings you can now change which wallpaper you like. You can pick any image you have on your computer. There's also now a few default themes that you can choose between, and what those essentially do is they change the colors. So these will have different presets, and there are now a few defaults. You can of course still make your own, but a bit simpler. So those are the main customization changes. Then maybe I should add that you go up here and into preferences and then into appearances here, and that is how you change wallpaper and theme. Then there are a new type of website in the game, and this is a police website. On the police website you will find some jobs that the police provide. One of them is that you will have to try to find evidence of some kind of criminal activity. Then another one is that you will have to trace an NPC through logs. Another one is maybe there are maybe there are only two different types of added missions in here. Then there's also the report tab, and in here if you find some kind of criminal activity somewhere, you can report that on the police website, and that way you can gain some karma, positive karma. I will go into a bit more detail about that later. Okay. Then we have a few more missions added in the special shop. So now there are also, besides the normal ones, there are also find and delete a remote file, also connected to some kind of bad behavior. Then there is one where you would have to get a file for whoever is providing these missions. And I think those are the two new types of missions that you can get here, and they are also I think they're also a bit higher reputation, so at least I can't see any reputation 0 missions like it. So that's new in here. Then I don't think there's anything new in here. Probably not. So maybe I should also mention that besides this new website, the police website, there are also some more secret websites that you can find that are connected to hidden missions. But I will not spoil that in this video. Okay. Then we have some changes, changes as well, but I won't go over those, but additions in the coding. And this is not an exhaustive list, but I made a few examples here that will give an idea of what the new features are. So one of the new features is this thing right here called import code, and essentially what this is a way to put code from another document or source file or text file into your main code or source that you're building. So I made an example here. We are pretending that this blue right here, everything within these comments blue right here, this inside here is in a separate file, and we pretend that this file is called blue. So we have this file and it has a function in it. And then what we do in the second script, which is we have to pretend like these are two different scripts. In the second script we have this import code, and then we give the path to this file right here. So we pretend that this file is in /root, and by importing this code, essentially what we're doing is we are putting this function inside of this source down here. So then when we run the function blue, even though it's not in this source, it has been imported and can be found and run. So when we put 2 and 3 into it, for example, it's going to output 5, because that's what this function does right here, a plus b. So a few of the usages for this will be that you can now extend the size of your script. So previously you were limited to 80,000 characters, and now you can put several 80,000 character files or source files or binary files, and then import them into a larger file, and that way you can build larger tools. Another application is that you can create binary files that you can share with other players, that and you will have the option to allow, if I click build here, I can allow the file to be imported with this check mark right here, and then when I build it, that file will be allowed to be used inside of import code, even though it's a binary. So then I can share this binary with other players, and they can use my source in their projects without me sharing the project that I made as open source. Moving on, then we have the app or apt-get, and this is a way to essentially make repositories in the game or interact with already existing repositories that are generated in the game. So the way you use it is you use include lib with the app client.so in the lib, essentially wherever it is. And then I made an example here what it could potentially do. It can, if you have added the special shop to the repositories on your system, then you can check for updates, for example for Metaexploit, and if it finds that the version is outdated, then it's going to automatically install the latest version. So in this example we're just looping over and over again the check, and whenever it finds that the update is or the version is outdated, it installs the next one. It doesn't work perfectly all the time if you don't have any kind of wait. So if it just runs super fast, it can sometimes be a bit messy. So I recommend you put like a 10-second wait. So at least in my experience, that has made it work better. Then we have the mail API. So what you can do now is you can, instead of using the normal mail client and logging in with that, you can log in with coding, and then you get this mail lib and there are a few. So these are just examples. There are more methods besides the one I'm showing here, but I'm showing like an overview of each of the new categories. So inside of the mail category, there are other things than just fetch. You can send mail and delete mail and stuff like that, but in the example I'm just showing fetch. So what fetch will do is it will take the all the mails that are found in the inbox of this account and output those to a list. And then what I'm doing here is I'm just putting those lists in a for loop and then printing all the mail in the inbox. Then we have an update to the user input. So previously we could only have user input take a string or input that the user would type, and then they had to press enter for the input to be sent. But now you can give the user input a third argument and set that to true or 1, the boolean. And if you then press any kind of key, so if you press like backspace or arrow keys or escape key or whatever, as well as the normal keys, you don't need to press enter. The act of just pressing the key will be enough to send the key, and in the example I made here, we're sending the keys and then we're printing whatever they are. So it might be saying like arrow key or the numbers or normal letter keys, and then it while loops this, so it's going to print whatever you clicked or pressed, and then ask for another key. Okay, so those are the scripting changes. And then we move on, and we have the apt API. With that also came a apt-get command that is already on your computer, so you don't actually need to script to use this. You can use the apt-get instead. And what that's going to do is it's going to allow you to interact with the repositories that you add. By default, you'll have a normal shop-ish kind of repository added that allows you to download all the normal libraries and or service libraries and local lib libraries. But you can also add more. For example, you can add a special shop, and that would allow you to again download the meta. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to install with apt-get, and what that does is it downloads the latest version of meta to our computer. We can just type apt-get to see the usage. So we can install, we can search for essentially what's in the repositories. We can show what's in the specific repositories that we've added. We can add more, and we can update is essentially after you add it, you need to update it so that it's up to date forever. Then you have upgrade, which allows you to update the installed programs and stuff on your computer. So if somebody releases for example, if the meta is updated, I can just use upgrade after I've installed it with apt, and it will check if any of the stuff needs updating. Then, of course, with the added API, you can also make stuff like this for yourself or others. So at the start, you might be using the default repositories, but later down the line, you might want to add player repositories and get access to various programs that they provide. Okay, moving on. We now have a new mail client. It's been updated a little bit, and we have a blacklist option, so you can manage your blacklists, add various email accounts that you don't want to receive emails from, or change your mind. You can also change the settings for the email, so you can decide if you just want emails from the NPCs, or well, like the system emails that you get when you are doing missions and stuff like that. Or you can allow other players to send you email, or you can allow anyone, including players, sending emails from NPC accounts. You have some options there. Then we have a few more social engineering options down here. So we have I know it was you, and essentially what this is a blackmail option. So sometimes you will find files in the on systems, and you can pick if you want, or you can decide if you want to try to go down the black hat route. Then we have the other option, which is the white hat route, and essentially what you're doing here is you're doing the good thing with the file instead. So those are the main changes to that. Then we have chat logs that you can find all around the world, the networks, and some of them will just be random conversations that you stumble upon, and others will contain starts to hidden missions. So yeah, by checking them you might stumble upon interesting lore as well. I think that's all to be said about those. Then you have PDFs, and they might have a bit more lore in them. They can also be somewhat connected to missions, hidden missions. So essentially you have more stuff to find on the various networks when you're exploring. Then we have images added. Nothing special. Some of them can also be connected to missions, but for the most part it's just more files to collect and find on the various networks. Then we have the karma. So when you make the various decisions that I showed, for example, in the mail down here, you can attain either positive or negative karma, and your karma level will be displayed in here. You can click on this button right here to get up this window, and depending on your karma level, you can get karma missions. So if you reach a certain point in the game and you have the karma needed, black or white, you might get an email, or not just one email, there can be like several emails when you're progressing in the game. So you keep track of that in here. And then, last but not least, there is now a safe mode that the system can boot into. You can also boot into this manually with reboot SM, but the main function for this is that if somebody breaks into your system, you might and they break it in some way, you now have an option or a chance to restore it again. So if some vital thing has been removed, you and you start your game, or restart it if you got kicked out, whatever, then it's going to start in safe mode instead, and if you are able to restore what was broken or fix it, then you can recover your system. Yeah, so let's just show that. We do reboot. And it's restarting the system. And now we're in safe mode. So this is what it's going to look like if something had... Now it's not broken, but if it had been broken, then you will be greeted by this black screen and a terminal prompt. And then you can use reboot to reboot the system again, and if you don't use the SM arguments at the end, flags, it's not going to put you back in here unless something is broken. Then you can just exit to main menu with exit. So what you can do in here essentially is you can let's just see here. I'm just going to start my tool to show. So let's, for example, say that let's say that something was broken on our system. And we gained access to another system, and so let's say, for example, that some of the important libraries had been removed on our system. Then we might be able to get into another system, and we go into lib on that system. Then we could perhaps maybe download some of the vital things. You can also play the game from inside of here if you really wanted to. I don't see any point to that, but that would also be possible. So just so let's say, for example, that something from boot was destroyed as well. You can go into another system in their boot folder and maybe grab whatever is missing. This of course requires that you have enough access on your system so that you are able to connect to another system and download the required files. Okay, I think that's everything. Well, maybe not everything, but I think that's a good overview of the new update. And yeah, I will probably add more info about this later down the line. But I think that's everything for this video. I hope you liked it. You can like and subscribe, and you can also join the Discord. Yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video.